tutorial will show you how to make a lip balm holder in the hoop using your embroidery machine that has stitching on the front as the pocket and also on the back. So go grab your design from designsbylittlebee.com, load it up into your machine, and let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is hoop your stabilizer and stitch out the placement for your whole key fob. I use Easy Frames by Durkee, so I have my Easy Frame here. All I have to do is stretch my stabilizer tightly across the frame, and I use binder clips on the edges to hold it in place. For this type of project, you do need to use tearaway. It's not an option anymore of tearaway or cutaway, whichever one. You need to either use a tearaway stabilizer, or I've also had good experience using a fairly thick water-soluble stabilizer. Anything that you can tear and pull away from the project as you work will be fine. So once you stitch the placement, you'll see these little tick marks. See them? You need to take your little pocket fabric and place it to cover. I cover, just like barely cover those tick marks. And then I'm going to use tape. You can pin if you'd like. It only really needs to hold for a moment while the machine grabs it to start the design. So it doesn't have to be permanent or really, really super secure. It just needs to stay there. And we don't want to use our fingers because that's naughty, right? Okay. The next step is going to serve kind of two purposes. It's going to be like a tack down for your pocket, and it's also going to stitch the design, which for this project is some mermaid scales. All right, our scales are all stitched out. Say that 3 times fast. And now we are on to the part of this project that makes it pretty different from the ones that we do usually, the typical way that we stitch out key fobs and all that jazz. You are going to take this piece of fabric, ignore the holes, that's from an earlier mess up. You're going to take this piece of fabric, which is going to be like sitting behind your lip balm, okay? Don't put it here. Actually put it underneath your hoop. Look at this. Right side up. You got me? Now you'll probably want to remove your hoop and place this and like pin it or tape it or something like that. I'm trying not to jiggle my camera around too much, so I'm going to pin mine. But I'm just making sure you saw that when I did it. I'm placing this under the hoop. You can take this tape off too. I'm placing it under the hoop, right side up, okay? Right side up. It is not the backing. It's not our backing piece. This is actually going to be right side up, okay? So you can see it through there. See the teal under there? That is right side up underneath my project. Okay, now this step is going to tack that down, bring it down, and then it's going to do something else cool that I'm going to show you when it's done. Okay, now you can see what I'm talking about when I said it did kind of a weird thing. Okay. Take your hoop off of your machine. Don't unhoop your project. I'm just going to pull mine out like this. Okay. Now what you need to do, you see this big outline? You're thinking like, why is that big outline there? You need to remove that stabilizer from your project. Okay? Be very careful. It does not have to be perfect because this is an outline. And it's not going to show in your final project. The way I digitize these, this edge will not be, it will not be shown. It will not, you won't ever see it. So you need to remove this stabilizer as close as you can to the pocket without messing anything up. You can clean up a bit later when you're done. So do it carefully. And don't worry too much about the edges. See how I'm going to leave? Well, wait a minute. Let me see. No, you can't see. Okay. Just pull that. I'm going very carefully because I don't want to... I've done it before. I don't want to like mess it up right here. Like I've pulled too hard. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, do you see how I did that? Very carefully. And you can also see how I left a little right there? That's okay. If I try to get that out, I'm going to pull the whole project off my hoop. So I'm not even going to try it. I put a little space between these two steps specifically for that purpose, so that you have a little wiggle room to clean up later. Don't worry about it right now. Don't ruin your project trying to get that little tiny 1 millimeter of stabilizer out. You can always clean up after the fact. Okay, so just like the first one, do you see where we're going with this? If you're really smart, I know you are, you can see where we're going with this. We have just made an open, clear space for the next round of scales. And that is how we get the stitching on the top and the bottom. The next step will be the placement circles for your snaps. It'll do one there and one there just to help guide you to where you place your snaps. I don't do that step. So I just move on to the next one, which is just like any other in the hoop key fob that we make. You're going to take your backing fabric. I'm using the blackboard fabric from Joann. You can find it, well, a lot of people say it's different places. Mine is at my Joann in the utility fabrics section. And it's either blackboard or chalkboard fabric. I can't remember. But I like it because it doesn't fray, or at least not much. And it's also kind of thin. Compared to the marine vinyl and especially the glitter vinyl that we use, it is pretty thin. So I like to use it because it makes the project easier to cut. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to place it underneath my hoop, see? Or underneath my frame. And it is right side down. See? The blackboard side is down. And since it's long enough to use my clips, I'm just going to take a clip at the end and another clip at this end. You can flip your hoop over and place it, and you can tape it or pin it or whatever your choice is, just to make sure it stays. So now you've got a nice little fabric sandwich, and you're going to run your final step. And I'll also show you something fairly cool. If you're seeing a bird's nest on the back of your project, here's one thing that can really help with that. When it starts to tie off at the beginning, take your thread and pull it out. And tell your machine to go one stitch. Okay, now tug gently on this thread. Boop! Did you see what just happened? The bobbin thread came out. So now I'm going to take both of these threads in my fingers and just hold them. Don't pull them. Just hold them gently until my machine ties its little knot and starts on its way. And then I'm just going to clip it. See? And now when you finish your project on the back, you won't see that bird's nest. Alright, now when your machine is done, you can remove your pins, remove your clips, remove all that good stuff. Take it over to your cutting area. And if I can, take it over to your cutting area and cut just as you normally would, right around the edge. And you see what I meant when I said don't worry about this edge right here. You're going to cut around it. So you're not going to see this icky, okay? Now I hope you see what I meant when I said you can clean this little pocket up later. Stick your finger in and loosen up your vinyl a little bit, and you can just reach in here and pull out that piece of stabilizer where it's not connected by stitches. See? Now, before I finish it off, I will of course do just a little more. There you go. Perfect. Look. And because we did that pull-up bobbin trick, notice that the beginning of my snap tab, right there, whoa, that was bright. Notice that the beginning, the only thing you can see is the little tie off at the end. So I'm just going to clip kind of close. Don't clip off your knot that your machine made. It did that on purpose. But I just clip a little. So there's just a little thread hanging off. But that's it. So now all I have to do is install my snaps here and here, and it will be a fully functional holder for my lip balm. Isn't that cute? Thanks for watching. I hope this makes the process a little easier for you. I know some people are visual learners. I sure am. So I hope this video helped you. You can always go back and refer to the PDF that's included with your file, or you can come back and watch this video again and again as many times as you want. This tutorial will work with any of this style of project that we make, where we have stitching on the back, you know, behind your lip balm or other accessory, and on the front pocket too. It just may be a different detail, like it's not scales, but it's a boot or whatever. So hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please go stitch something for yourself today, and I'll talk to you later. Chat with you in the group.